a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Welcome to episode 21 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. New discussion, new manager and new chapter. With me today is Richard from Liversedge, Neil from Wyke, and I'm Matt from Leeds. Sadly, Danny from Murfield is not with us today, so it's just the power trio. So firstly, we'll start by saying thank you very much for your response to our David Wagner video. If you've seen it, please like it, retweet it, share it, etc. It always helps to promote the podcast. Also, I was involved in an article with PremStats involving the new and old managers, which is available at premstats.com. So if you're at a loose end on your lunch break and want a 5-minute read, check that out too. So then, gentlemen, a new manager is in the building, Mr. Jan Siewert. But first, there was a game of football. We've not talked about these for a little while. One of the best club sides in the world came to our lovely stadium and won 3-0. It's an interesting lineup as well from Mark Hudson. Kosi, no Mounier, Zanka or Pritchard caught the eye. Do you think Hudson was trying to make a bit of a statement with that lineup?
I think so. I think just going back to the day, my emotions were just all over the place. I don't know about anybody else. As I woke up, and I wasn't bothered about going to the game for the first time in a long, long time. And then I'm kind of thinking, well, hang on a minute. You can't just watch it on telly. And then part of me thinking, well, I don't even want to watch it all. Honestly, I was still in full-on mourn mode for David Wagner. It was such a weird kind of state of affairs. Didn't go to the gas club. I'm doing some shopping in Sainsbury's. It just didn't feel right to me Sunday. It was so very weird. So even when the team kind of comes up on your phone an hour before, it was kind of a and a lot of people were texting me saying, "Oh, it's great. It's kind of making a statement." I think a lot of people were pleased Zanka had kindly been finally moved out, and almost one or two looked like maybe a bit of a kind of a one finger in the air maybe to Wagner with kind of what he did. But I've got to be honest, I don't know about you, Neil, but I really struggled on Sunday just to even click through that turnstile, mate.
Do you think though, Neil, do you think it maybe was a one finger, or do you think this was more the other way and that these players have let Wagner down, so therefore
I think he hung Diakabi out to dry. I think you were right to do it.
He hung himself out a little bit.
I think Diakabi's been very vocal with that daft interview we spoke about couple of months back. Lad's clearly not anywhere near good enough. Nowhere near ready, especially if it riggers of a relegation scrap. And I think Hudson's it might be completely wrong here, it's just my opinion, but I think Hudson's maybe just plonked him out there and just sort of to show everybody that, this is why he's not been playing. Because, I tweeted about it'd be a great play if he want a ball involved, to which Danny replied, he's got to be quick after his first touch as bad as that to keep up with it, which just about summed it up for me. It was just, I didn't mind him swapping a few about and doing something different. End of the day, let's be fair, you've just lost Wagner, you've got 11 points, you're playing Man City, who are scrapping for Championship. It was a bit of a, I don't like the term frigate, but Sunday were just weird all round. I'm a bit like Kosi, I wasn't bothered about going. I'm sat in car queuing to get out, thinking I wish I hadn't have gone. And
I was doing weird things, like I went in ground about 40 minutes before kick-off and bizarre, and amazed how late it filled up. Part of me thought, because obviously they said the full house signs, were out, and I was thinking, wow, it's going to have to fill up late. Obviously it kind of did, but yeah, obviously in the south stand and that atmosphere, fantastic. Banner, I thought first and foremost looked really, really good, and obviously, going out global on live TV, that looked good. But yeah, it was always going to be a game that where they would edge that. I don't know whether it's obviously with the Wagner situation. I think a lot of people are accepting our fate. Yeah. Manchester City fearing the worst. I don't think you were ever going to be rocking. I thought it were decent to say.
It were okay.
It were lukewarm, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, it never were going to fire. And
it fit with game, because if we're being brutally honest, Man City have never got out of neutral, have they?
It was like a wake, I thought.
It was.
But it was quite apt for what had gone on in the previous week. And just on Diakabi as well, I thought I could see sense in what Mark Hudson was trying to do, because Man City's back four press really high.
Yeah.
And I just thought, do you know what, they're looking to soak up the pressure and just pop it over the top and Forrest Gump him. But like you say, it was a great idea until the ball was involved.
Yeah.
So moving on, there's a few incidents. So we always say, we're always quite adamant out that this seems to be a bit of a subconscious top six bias for decisions, but lo and behold, a Stonewall penalty wasn't given. Raheem Sterling, Neil, I remember sitting in the probably one of the worst views possible, but I remember seeing it and going, he's got nowhere near that. How is that not a penalty?
Yeah. It's a pen. You could tell it was a pen. The fact the referee didn't give it were, well, very, very surprising, to be honest. And I think maybe Sterling's sort of reputation's maybe gone before him there a bit, because it couldn't be what else but a pen. But then there's been all sorts on radio this week from the usual numpties saying that Town fans are a joke and they should be apologising to Raheem Sterling because they booed him all the way through the game for what were a Stonewall penalty. But if...
Well, they booed him for 5 minutes and then packed it in.
From certain parts at ground...
I don't know what the booing for, to be honest.
But knowing what referees are like, from certain parts at ground, you probably did think he probably dived. So, without seeing it back, he's going to get booed. It's just how it is, isn't it? So, asking fans to apologise for it. Is Sterling going to apologise for scoring an offside goal? No, because that's equally ridiculous.
Yeah, I had a bad view of it. I mean, before we even talk about Sterling, Manchester City's away kit.
Oh,
Manchester City's warm-up top. I don't know if you had the misfortune.
Yes.
What is going on there?
Yeah, shambles.
They're horrendous.
Their kit's like... it's what you'd pick in a Sunday league, because you could only afford one kit to make sure you didn't clash with anybody else all season. Shambles.
I had a shocking view in the South Stand, so went straight on my Twitter, and obviously the game that was on live. How was that not a pen? I can't believe that. What's going on? Because people around me it looked like it. I thought, how can we tell you? But that said it all. But I just kind of smiled ironically because I thought it's almost point. Oh God, I don't know we're defeatist, but it's almost we got a bit of luck there, but against Man City, so we're never gonna. It's not gonna catch.
Well, even then, because the referee giveth and taketh away in the second half.
Yeah, he did.
So we've never been on the end of. We've never had anything corrected like that, from what I remember. But again, like you say, it was Man City. If he's not offside on that second goal, there's another one coming shortly afterwards. So
the one thing that wound me up, Matt. I'm sorry if I've nicked your kind of list here and that as well, but there's no doubt in my mind if that's Lerver on Sterling, that's a red. Walker on Lerver. I think that's a red if that's another Seal player doing it. I don't want to...
Maybe possibly, but
it was a shocking
the fact
tackle,
that people were screaming for it, it's never seen a red card. Walker's got there a split... I mean, let's be fair, he's quick and all, but Walker's got there a split second later than Lerver. But I don't actually think he's touched him. I think Lerver's dived over him. And... It makes it look worse because Lerver's rolled about 20 times.
He sold it. I don't like to see stuff like that. I understand why he did, and I think there may have been some kind of contact with his.
It's not a red for me though.
I don't think so.
It was right decision for me. Yellow card.
Yeah, and I thought fair enough to Kyle Walker. Because usually what you see is players running over and feigning some kind of fake care, don't they, so they don't get booked. But he took his booking, went over, apologised.
My point is, if that is another player doing it, there's a greater chance of a red there. 100%. They'll just see.
I don't deny that for a minute. We've seen it happen, haven't we?
Yeah. It's probably a good job them other adverts are there before the adverts was Lerver. They'd have probably rolled out off pitch. Would have been out of 10 men.
I think it'd have been sat in singing section at Kilburn.
Been having a pie, wouldn't he? But it's it was funny though because he put Kyle Walker. I think that kind of thought give it away to me because he was rolling around agony. Then Kyle Walker just kind of pulled him straight up, and then he kind of walking on normally. Well, weird. Yeah. Normally you kind of still pretend you're injured, but he just just stood up. It was just a weird.
And to be fair, we do moan sometimes that town players don't make a meal of stuff enough.
Yeah.
So the fact that he did, we can't really moan about it, can we?
Nope.
No, can't have it both ways, can we? But interesting thing, Kosi, you were in the South Stand, and it was quiet. The atmosphere was quiet. Man City aren't really notorious for making a racket, are they? And at one point, it sounded like they were singing 3-0 to The Exorcist to me, if you're over there, but apparently it was 3-0 to the empty seats, but to us over the right side, it sounded...
Man City fans, it was
absolutely bizarre.
That. I think they're getting caned for their lack of seats, so I think they've just gone on the other way like Man City do, just the kind of we'll banter ourselves off kind of thing and that as well. But
gallows humour.
Yeah, I thought what were good, and I'll move on. I made my feelings clear on the Twitter and radio leads on Sunday. The video that eventually came on of Wagner at half-time, the Man City fans were really good. They could have been painful and that and shouted over it. And
Most of them turned out to watch it, to be fair.
yeah,
Didn't they?
Yeah,
I
they're
think
all
what
right.
the club had
They're
tried
all
to
right,
do
yeah.
was kind of use that as a bit of a catalyst to get everybody buzzing and stuff and that as well. Obviously, he didn't play, but yeah, I mean, and then we're on about luck and everything. I just kind of smiled with their first goal. That's just where it's gone this season. I bet David Wagner watching it, and he will have done, won't he?
I'll make a
He'll
point.
have just smiled and think that's just.
Yeah.
I want to make a point on that goal because Danilo's shot was going off target slightly. Steve Mounier shoots against Bournemouth last season, similar angle, gets taken off him. Schindler this season against Fulham, taken off him. Why is again? I know I'm going down this top 6 thing, but why has that goal not been taken off him?
It's just a joke. Well,
I know Schindler doesn't want it.
He's had one taken off him at Leicester Wolves game, Harvey Barnes. And
Yeah,
it's probably going wide, but he's hit it with intent to score and it's gone in off somebody.
To me, it just seems like that.
It's daft for me. 'Cause it's rules like that. Let's be fair, they don't want it.
No.
Striker wants it. Just give it. Make everybody happy. Give it to striker. I don't see value in stuff like that, mate. It's a pointless exercise.
Fantasy Premier League
to
managers
have,
will
yeah,
disagree.
to have a panel
not me.
that judge on stuff like that. Lad wanted to score. He's had a shot. It's gone in. It's his goal.
The good thing for me, and this is a bit, just our expectations are so low for me at the moment. You could sense Man City weren't playing well. They weren't playing well. They
No.
were very average, and I thought, thank God, because
Yeah.
if that penalty's given, maybe I don't know. I think they were
They were
they've got so many
misplacing
games
passes and
coming
all
up.
sorts,
yeah.
weren't they?
Yeah, I thought, and this is the thing I was just thinking. Obviously, ended up 3. I thought before coming in, I'd settle for that. It's bad that, innit, when you're thinking that.
Well, we were stood 10 men behind ball, so far off them and all.
Yeah.
We weren't really engaging with them. Well, we weren't trying to sort of get in the face.
Pressing zones where there are areas where we were too
bits and
engaged,
pieces,
but it was
but
quite
it
deep.
were very much keep your shape, don't move out of shape. And
It's a bit when you're 2-0 down. It's a bit boring, isn't it?
the thing is,
3-0
when you
down.
look at their goals, you break it down. First and deflection that's going wide, it's gone in.
Oh, punching.
Typical Town. Second goal's offside. And then third goal, Puncheon's made an absolute shambles of it.
Doing
For
He
3-0
he
and-
looks unfit to me, does Punch. It's not surprising he's hardly played all year, but it just doesn't quite. Him and Bakuna just seemed a
Something
bit.
about him I quite liking me though.
I think
Good leader, isn't he?
Chatting to my Palace friend, I think there was, because I was saying, look, if, Championship and what have you, punching, and he was saying, in the middle of the park, obviously I thought him kind of a wingman, but he's a guy who can spray passes about, kind of direct operation, and I think we tried to, obviously it went a bit disastrously wrong on Sunday, but I saw a different side to him on Sunday, which I'm thinking maybe could that be of some use next year?
No, I
don't know.
think it could because he hit 2 fantastic balls down the line,
Yeah, he did.
but he hit them into an area where Kyle Walker's retreating and he's as fast as anything.
Yeah.
And Kyle Walker made what was a very good ball look a poor one. So I think you're right, Kosi. I think when you're not coming up against an England fullback, I think Jason Puncheon will be very, very useful.
Well, you're up against arguably the best right back in division, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's an argument to say that, isn't there? So we're just one of them. We've lost. We expected to lose. And without sounding too defeatist, would we all have took 0-3? Probably.
I think like as usual though, Neil, and never, ever, 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 ever did we look like scoring a goal.
No.
To be fair, one man came on for Diakabi, and I thought for 30 minutes he looked really, really good. He won everything. He was fast. He was running the channels, and then he ruined everything with probably the miss of the
he
season.
cut inside at one point and
Hit
hit
that
one from
shot.
edge at box. It's only a couple of foot wide.
He looked great. He looked absolutely great, and then
Miss.
he ruined. I don't know if you saw it, but he ruined everything
Yeah.
pretty much with that miss at the end. It's just. You just think, come on, Steve.
It's gotta go
You've
in,
worked
hasn't
hard. You've deserved this. You've got to.
We're almost Depocher. We've kind of trying to defend Moody a little bit, kind of saying he's a little bit better than Depocher, but ultimately
He's a good player, but you can't defend that.
Ultimately,
you
they've
can't
both
defend that
been
miss.
rubbish this season. That's the long and short of it. They've got one
You
goal
can
between them.
kind of, you can kind of stick up for Mooney and say outside the box he's
There's
been
bits and
fantastic, but
pieces you can, but
inside the box he's
the
not
long
done
and short is that
what
they're
he's supposed to
score
do.
goals. If they'd scored 5 goals each, which isn't too much to ask. If they'd scored 5 goals, well, even 4 goals each. Scored
One
4
each would be
goals
good.
each, yeah. There's, that's you had 8 goals in the right places, and we're not 10 points adrift. We might be at bottom 3 still, but maybe 2, 3, 4 points adrift. So
I think it's
Mooney
like-
should have 7 or 8. To be
yeah, it
honest.
should.
I think it's like we said before. The one thing I was thinking is, why is Sky showing this game? What were the point? It's just
It's
pointless.
to show Man City.
It's
Yeah, I
just
know
a
that, but
fest
why
to
put him
show
on against
Man
us?
City
What's the
off. Well,
point in that?
they've showed every game against us live, haven't they, with them? So it should come up.
One thing I
All
didn't
4 of
think much of, but a couple of people text me after, Phil Billing. obviously not involved. Obviously, we have to take the club's word for it. But some people will say to me again, rumour and January and what have you. It's just a bit of a.
We'll see, won't we?
Out the firing line. It was a bit weird. Nothing in the press during the week.
He came on pitch at half time to do draw and said he just tweaked his knee.
Yeah, which you've got to take that on.
Yeah, they've done this all season though. They haven't said things like this all season, and I think, to be honest, recently Town fans need to stop making stuff up.
Yeah, they do.
In terms of rumours, because there've been some ridiculous things going around recently.
And let's be honest, whatever anybody thinks, a lot of people have got quite a lot of detractors as Phil Billing, but lad's a talent. Make no two ways about it. The lad is a talent, and he will stay in the Premier League when we're not in it next season. So if Town can pull in 15, 20, 25 million, and I know that sounds daft.
No, I'd go north. In this current climate, if we only get 15 million, I'll be gutted.
Yeah, I'll be annoyed if it's less than 20. So, but if it enroll in that kind of money this month, rather than wait till end of the season, I've got to be honest, I won't be against him going now.
Well, the question is, Neil, would we get more for him in this month than what we would at the end of the season? Because
January
is a crazy window.
Yeah, probably.
All those assets are going to go down, aren't there, and that as well. It's just a weird window, though, and it's like, I think you touched on it, Matt, the other week, but no one's doing any. No one does any business hardly ever, unless they're paying off the odds, because everyone's just going to wait and wait and wait. So, for example, we might have a bid from Billy now. We don't know. For example, but we're not going to. Then it could come back. I mean, like that guy. Who's the Palace put a bid in for the Leeds guy? Sorry, the young guy.
Clark.
Leeds rejected it, but then someone else, I think Tottenham, are linked. They've only got to double it. We're in this kind of the same boat. It's a point. I hate this window. Just scrap the window. It's a point.
Or just leave it open.
Leave it like it used to be, and then pack it in March.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
good.
To be fair,
it's bonkers.
The two transfer windows absolutely ruined managers like Stan Turner, and thank God for that.
Yeah.
But managers like him who used to just week by week
there won't be
put
all
teams
this
together.
Panic buying, and the fact that if somebody misses out on a move at 11th hour and they're not in favour at their team, that's a player in his chosen profession that's a short enough career as it is that might not kick a ball for 4 months. And if you include summer and then up to it's new season, it's 7 months without playing a competitive game of football.
What these two windows do?
There's no sense in that.
Well, what they do as well is, because people are so desperate, it keeps driving prices up, and prices are getting out of control now. We're talking about 20, 30 million for a player that people don't like in his own club.
Yeah.
And it just seems crazy, doesn't it? And this is what the two windows are doing, and the shortening of the windows do. They drive demand up.
I said that to somebody the other day about Billing, you've got his detractors, but the fact that so many Town fans don't like him, yet he will be in Premier League next year and probably cost somebody 15, 20 odd million.
Definitely.
That sums it up for me.
I went into work on Monday morning and he lost Kosi, and I just looked up and there's a Bradford fan in front of me. He says, "Don't you talk to me, don't you get your violin out. We've been ripped apart by Chris Powell's Brazilian side, Southend United." Says, "You think you've got problems, mate? Come down to the
It's the only thing that made an highlight of the weekend, and I hate Chris Powell. But I actually really liked Chris Powell on Saturday. I nearly put a flat cap on.
To be fair as well, those 4 goals were excellent.
Not seeing them.
They were excellent.
I don't think I've seen more than 6 goals from Football League all seasons. It's on a right random channel now, isn't it? So I never watch
it.
Neil, mate.
Sky Sports.
Oh yeah, I'll
Sky
find
Sports.
it for next year.
Quest,
I've sacked all Sky off and all.
Just on the website. You can see.
I've just not bothered. Not bothered at all.
Whopper, to quote you, Neil, Colin Murray, I think, presents it. But
because it's still that blank.
Yeah, get used to it, mate. But
he does half of our design work, does Colin Murray, so that's if he's listening.
Nothing else, Man City. I can't think of anything that's.
No, so
best man. I thought Og tried well. Og did well, but
as your man Ben Thorne says, he's the man of the match every week until someone takes it off him.
Yeah, I said to say my dad.
To be honest, I don't think there's a better quote from anyone.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah. It is true.
Absolutely spot on.
I'll tell you one thing I would like to say before we move on, before I forget. I think it's only right that we mention the lad who's gone missing for the Cardiff player. I just think it's obviously an horrible situation, that one. And it's looking more grim by the hour for any chance of finding him. And I think he just got, his dream move to Premier League for that kind of money. And if that's halted it before it's even started, that's just That's we're whinging about losing 3 games of football and a manager going and whatever else. And
I don't know if you saw that video from the Nonce fans
brilliant.
last night.
Yeah,
when they were singing his name.
Yeah, horrible but brilliant.
Absolutely output.
So thoughts with Emiliano, Salah, and the pilot's English actually. Somebody Ibbotson, I think his name was, but just horrible. That's not the kind of thing you want to be reading about. I mean, Cardiff were at the next game after the Leicester chairman died, wasn't he? So he's been.
I watched
football again's been tarnished, and it was some horrible.
You had that sinking, that pit, in your stomach and that as well.
It's
Obviously,
horrible.
just fresh from the Leicester kind of thing, and the story pieced together. But as we obviously record this, it doesn't look good.
No, I just thought we're right that we mentioned that.
No,
tonight.
obviously we're hoping for a miracle, aren't we, on that one? But all the best to him and the clubs involved. 100% from all of us.
Absolutely.
I hope that turns out better than what we think it is at the moment.
Yeah.
So we'll have a change of pace. So I don't really want to disrespect that player by talking about our next subject too clean so soon afterwards. But post-match, Neil, TalkSport haven't stopped talking about us all week. No exposure is bad exposure and all that. The merry-go-round old boys club have bemoaned us for not appointing an English manager. Sam Fallasdice ruled himself out of the job he wasn't even in the room for, and then moaned about not getting it.
What sport?
But yeah, post-match, the club refused to speak to what I would describe as a cretinous irritant of a broadcaster in TalkSport. The club have been pretty much under constant nonsense from these bunch of absolute spoons all this week and last.
Yeah. To be fair, pretty much since we got promoted, it's not even like it's just amplified at the moment because we're bottom at league and they love it, don't they?
Indeed. And after a national broadcaster and somebody who takes himself seriously as a journalist, Mark Saggers said, Adama Diakabi is worse than footballers at a national league level. Huddersfield Town decided to lock TalkSport out, so to speak, and refuse to speak to them. I think that's magnificent, Neil, and I hope a lot more people follow suit and shut down this tragic bunch of
for
absolute pillocks.
That's in a season of war that we've had. That is one of the. I loved it. I absolutely loved hearing that we'd refuse to send any players out to talk to them, and I think we've been ridiculed for it since by said station, Whoppers Sport, and it's just. The fact that they do it, obviously they do it to get reactions like this from people, but we're not ringing in where it's moaning.
Oh yeah, I would say that if you do get annoyed by them, just unfollow them.
Yeah,
do not give them the attention they want.
Turn your radio over, unfollow them on Twitter. Luckily, I'm blocked because I think I've told the ginger one when I've thought of him before. But it's all bollocks that they come out with in it, and. I mean,
it's to wind people up to ringing.
We're Town fans. If we want to have a moan about our players, we will do. I don't think anybody's particularly a fan of Diakabi, but to come out with something like that, it's just wrong.
No,
it's just wrong. So I'm glad Town did what they did and balls
absolutely, and I hope more outside because they are top 6 propagandists.
Yeah,
and I do hope more follow suit. So also as well on the same channel, Simon Grayson also complained that we haven't given the new manager's job to Chris Wilder, who is as far as I'm aware, is a massive Sheffield United fan and living his boyhood dream.
He's living his dream. They've got a chat that they're in.
This is a guy who worked for us.
Yeah.
So he knows the club, he knows the chairman, he knows the championship, he knows Chris Wilder. Why are you saying this?
I think let's be honest, Matt, and again.
It's just
English. It's as simple as that.
It's two jobless English managers chelping because they can't get a job.
We'll just come on Sievert's appointment in a minute, but again, I think just to talk sport, but would an under-23 coach in England get a top job in Germany? And people trying to twist this and that and the other and stuff. And yeah, he's just the old boys network at Talk Sport, unfortunately.
Thing is, most of these clubs now they would take Daniel Farker from Norwich.
Yeah,
they'd take Wagner now he's free. They would have. Plenty of time to take him before they were free, so he'll get a job easy enough. It's not rocket science. I don't hear all these same people crying about Pochettino and Mourinho, and all these other top managers. And
it always seems it's all right if one of the top 6 have a foreign manager.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, again, it's
and it's all right when all these jobless managers start chelping. It's all right when they're wanting to blow millions of a club's money on a foreign striker or a foreign player to play wherever. But as soon as it's somebody who might be... and let's be honest, they're not taking jobs off them. These jobs aren't there for them. Sam Allardyce ruled himself out of a job at Huddersfield Town that he would never, ever, in any chance of being... If he'd have been only manager available, we wouldn't have appointed a manager.
No. This was the guy that Bolton side were just totally filled with foreign players and that as we're knocking them. And that says maybe, I tell you what,
just obscene.
You want to see tweets of your block, but he said something like, maybe I'll have to get a job abroad, and then so someone says, God, as if Brexit's bad enough for these Europeans and that they might have to put up with Sam Allardyce.
But it's just, the man believes his own hype, doesn't he? He's gone on radio, he's gone on television, and it's purely
nearly had the best job in the world.
He did, and he blew it.
Absolutely blew it.
But he's gone on, got himself on TV and radio to make himself relevant again, to get his name back out there, because it's time at season where somebody might want a firefight and he's thinking, I might be in for the job. But because this one's probably a little bit too far out of his comfort zone because of where we are, and chances of anybody keep us up now are slim to none, I'll rule myself out of that one. That I'm never going to get offered in a month of Sundays anyway.
He even admitted that though, so it's like, what
and
are you
then moan about giving it to a foreigner. There
was a great article come out last Friday, I can't remember, Football 365 or whatever, but and you took me out of me a little bit, Matt, but he said Huddersfield need a fire starter, not a firefighter.
Yes, Keith Flint.
Yeah, that's what we've
got.
Who said
that?
She's a Huddersfield fan who wrote that.
It was a great article, and it just said,
really
look,
good.
they don't need a firefighter. Someone who like to throw a big, ridiculous cash at it would probably go down anyway.
I think it's Sarah Winterburn, is it, who did the article?
Really
I think she's a Huddersfield fan, yeah.
Really good article.
She's really good.
And lo and behold, that's what we've got.
So speaking of another national broadcaster with a top six bias and little research outside of it, the debate on Sky dedicated about a minute of its 1 hour plus programme to the change of coach and tried to go to down the angle of us being sneaky for having him lined up 2 years ago. Tim Sherwood, to be fair, shut that down, which was pretty good. However, 2 years ago, it's important to remember that David Wagner had a huge offer from Wolfsburg and Olaf Rebbe that he did really well to turn down. So Siewert was sounded out in case Wagner went at that time. So to me, it's good succession planning, and Sky thought they'd found our succession plan on Sunday. Despite Sky saying that he wasn't in the running earlier in the week.
Territory, this, isn't it?
Was it Patrick Davidson?
Yeah.
He was all right, to be fair.
To be fair, I think he's sort of been hung out to dry here because he's obviously somebody
he got
obviously
sent.
mentioned it.
He got sent. He's
usually
usually fine. But it turned out, so they sent Patrick Davidson down into the crowd, and it turned out not to be Jan Siewert, but Martin from Wakefield. And what a good sport Martin turned out to be after the event. He's a Man City fan, but it turns out he's actually a really good bloke as well.
Martin House.
So I think it's only fair to give out the details that, Martin House Hospice, you can follow on Twitter at Martin House CH. And if you want to donate to them, you can text JANS10 to 70070 and martinhouse.org.uk/donate. And what they do is they try and help children and young people with life-limiting conditions along with their families to live well and fully and offer the best possible end-of-life care and support to the family in bereavement.
Brilliant.
I were kind of laughing. So Patrick Davidson, I've been wound up with him for some time. He's a young guy that's kind of doing the pitch side stuff, the post-match stuff. Obviously, Jeff Shreves is kind of the main man, but Patrick Davidson's trying to kind of make his mark. And I remember him trying to...
Is he the one who Ethel is?
Yeah, I think he was. But I remember chatting Mourinho, and he really went to town on Mourinho. He were wanting him to, kind of Mourinho to snap, and he didn't. He's looking for this big headline. Yeah. He's looking for, to make my name. It's Patrick Davidson. So I think he thought that this was his moment. So I was brilliant when it blew up in his face and that as well. He was absolutely hilarious. Now, I've not watched the kind of the full game back, so we're talking live as the game was going on.
Live as it was
So
going
how
on.
bad the game was that they had to zoom in on a guy who's in a stand
Yeah.
as the game's going on.
Gary Neville even said it was the new manager, didn't he?
Incredible.
So Patrick Davidson's not the only one. Gary Neville, but I said that as well.
It's full weight Whopper, isn't it?
It's a tough one for Whopper, though, Neil, because we'll probably mention Robbie Fowler in a minute, but we've got him, we've got Big Sam, we've got Patrick Davison.
Yeah, we'll do that section in a while.
I don't know who you're going to go for. It's going to be interesting, mate, when we
We'll do
get
that
to
section
bit.
in a while. But so Martin from Wakefield did come in technically. Jan Siewert kicked him out, if you like. The video was great, I thought, from Huddersfield Town. So yeah, I like good-hearted humour like that. I thought it was pretty funny, pretty good. Martin, actually, decent actor. Jan Siewert, a little bit Arnold Schwarzenegger, but
As long as he's a better football manager than he is, happy days, we'll take it.
yeah. So are you guys happy with this one, Kosi? You happy with Jan Siewert?
I would really, you know what? When it were I put a tweet out on Sunday. It was a two-part tweet, so it was awkward because it looked like I was kind of nailing the colours to the mast to maybe, kind of going away from the German kind of theme, the pressing game. Kind of trying something a little bit different. And then part of me thought, do you kind of rip up something that's been so successful? So I'm not answered your question yet, have I? But I was a lot happier when it was at Julian. I thought Julian Winter came across really well in the press conference. I was really chuffed.
Yeah, he did really did.
Something there that you claiming that we've been knocked for, but the fact I just thought, Dortmund under 23 coach, but no, the fact that we've been in contact with him, the fact that it seemed to me that he knows about us.
He had a decent knowledge.
He kind of had good knowledge in that as well. But I just wondered maybe if.
And he wasn't blustered either. He won't paper. He won't try to just. No.
You got the feeling he'd been preparing for this job for 2 years.
Yeah,
I think when I've done my research, it sounded like he's turned down QPR as well, which whatever you think of that, but that was an opportunity champ, so we didn't feel it were right.
Yeah, to go to London as well.
Yeah, I was really impressed how he came across in the news conference. I thought some of the questions were a bit poor, to be fair. That a lot of it was, obviously going on the Wagner, you like him, you're doing the same things, blah, blah, blah. But he really gave me what I needed at the moment with Huddersfield Town. A real pick me up. And I thought Julian Winter as well, real firm, it looked like this just want to, kind of, let's go back where we've been. There's been some succession plan now.
It hadn't come across as a bod's job. It's come across as a thoroughly professional setup, which is, to be fair, it's what you got to expect now.
So, are you happy with the appointment, Neil?
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? I'd never heard of him. The only person out of all the list of, when you looked at bookies, out of all the full list, the only person that I think me and most other people would have said really happy with would have been Jukanovic, which ironically has been sacked from a team that's 3 points better off than us after spending 100 million. But I think purely because he's done so well in Championship, Watford and Fulham and what have you, I think he would have been an appointment where we've all sort of, excellent, looking forward to that. But from listening to Siewert talk and everything that is the background that he's gone into and the things that he's done elsewhere, it's an exciting appointment, and it's one now where, as devastated as we all were, gutted about Wagner going, he's still best man in the job for me, but we'll move on and we'll roll up to Everton next Tuesday at home, and I think it's time now for fans to get over it, move on, get behind him. He's come across well, and what we do need now is sort of, we mentioned it off air, we need sort of a West Brom end of season like they had last season, where absolutely doomed, went for it a bit, started mixing it. All fear had gone because they'd written the season off and they were down. And they had a really good end to the season. Now they're, challenging for automatic promotion again. I think that's what we need to do now.
I think really interesting as well, I don't know whether it was you, Matt, or Neil, tweeted it from our account, retweeted by Andy Giddins, who obviously kind of main man at BBC Sheffield, says, understand Huddersfield have made an approach to Barnsley for assistant coach Andreas Winkler. Winkler could become new assistant coach at the EPL club before Saturday. So again, that's another good thing. We've got a guy who's had experience of kind of League One, the English game.
Lives down the road, yeah.
Really, really good.
And he worked with Siewert at Essen.
Yeah.
So that's the link between them two there. So you're also getting somebody up who won't have to move house.
Let's be honest, Huddersfield and Barnsley flip-flop for little bits of time. It's time Huddersfield going to Barnsley and nicking that.
Well, if you read through comments on that, on the Andy Giddins tweet, there's actually a Barnsley fan put, so it's simple, isn't it? They're a bigger club than us.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, Fair play.
Yeah, and as it stands, we are. They're in the situation now where we've been many times in the past. So, unfortunately for them, we're at the moment where we've got the chance of nicking who must be an half decent coach. Yeah. Well, we all like to think he's an half decent coach, and if he's got the rapport with Siewert, happy days, bring it on. So it's new era time. We've all got to move on, step forward. What will be this season now, but let's go down swinging a bit. Let's get a bit of fun back in it and give us a bit of something to build on over at summer and look forward to for August.
Matt, what did you think of the appointment?
I'll come to that in a second. So essentially, you put a poll out, Kosi. So I've got the results in front of me. I can see you scrambling for your phone. It's all right. So we've got a poll here. We've still got an hour left on this one and over 400 votes. So thank you for voting. 90% are happy with the appointment. 1% are sad, and 9% are a little bit indifferent. 9% are a little bit indifferent.
409 votes, so decent.
Yeah. My view. So I'm going to look at this. I'll put my point across, but I'm also going to look at it from the point of the 9% and 1%. So the other 10% that aren't happy. For me, I think the appointment makes a lot of sense in terms of continuity. We built this Terrier identity. It wasn't just David Wagner's identity, it's something which has been ingrained at the club. And I know it's been difficult to employ that at times in the Premier League because the Premier League's a really tough division, but it's good to see that we'll be continuing and trying to push forward with that identity. And it's the coach may be interchangeable, but the whole ethos isn't. So I like a lot of what he said and how he's conducted himself in the press conference as well. I like the look of this. I like the continuity. I like how he's talked. I like the guy. My only sort of reservation is that I just felt that David Wagner had moved this club forward from 2015 to a stage whereby maybe we could look at somebody who's a bit more experienced, a bit more of a name. Somebody such as Peter Stöger, who I mentioned last week, who's available, or Stefan Baumgart, who's at Paderborn, who's got a really good record at Paderborn. But, we're likely going to be relegated. There's possibility of a bit of a turnover of staff, and there's a lot of money to spend. And you just wonder what he's going to be like as a 36-year-old fresh to management. Would it have been better going to somebody with a bit more experience? Or
I think one of the keys to this is going to be the next person that's employed as the replacement for Olaf. I think it's key that this next man who comes in that role is a great link between the boardroom and the manager, does his job well, does his job correctly, they converse, they get involved, and they make the right decisions. And I think that whoever comes in that role, that's a massive appointment for this football club now.
Neil, it's absolutely
so I'm
huge.
interested to see who appears there.
What I was thinking, kind of let's be honest, Moy, probably adios.
Yeah.
Congolo, adios. Billing, see you later.
Yeah.
And who knows? Parachute payment armed with that. There's never going to be another town manager in our history that's going to be armed, or those famous last words, with his amount of cash as this guy. It would interesting.
That was my point, really.
Yeah, it would be interesting reading kind of Rafa Onyxstein, who's a German
could have
football
just said
expert, and that as well. And
I wrote something. I waffle. You know me.
I don't know if you guys read it, but there was an interesting article on BBC Sport yesterday. Why teams going to Dortmund, and one of the kind of points that were made is probably because these guys don't expect like big purses. They turn around guys in the same way kind of Bielsa's turned Leeds around with the same group of players. You've got, our guy David Wagner with us. David Wagner, obviously he brought his guys in the second season, but straight away you could see. I think that's what I'm looking for, Neil, because I think the fans were so educated here, because we're going to lose a lot more games. There's going to be a lot of players in, a lot of players out, different formations, different systems. We might lose so many more games. We've got to stay educated here. I think, I get people don't want to kind of give it up, but to me, if we can see what we saw in that bit of Wagner, that first season,
that's all we need now.
1 or 2 wins, a bit of, kind of, I can see what he's doing, knowing full well that we're not going to be, probably signing much before the window shuts, knowing full well it's going to be the summer before he brings his own men in, he has the individual chat, speak to man.
Show us a plan.
Yeah, we've got to be really educated and savvy as fans here, because I'll be mad if we gets to April and yeah, people judge and want to see different stuff, but let's be honest, I don't think you could get a Valverde in or anyone in that.
It got mentioned.
Get anything out of these players anymore.
It got mentioned on Twitter about, he's going to be tarnished with a big R next to his name at the end of this season.
That'd be unfair.
Not for me, Ian.
No, not for me.
Not for me. Relegation this season's got nothing to do with him.
No,
it's as simple as that.
He's got an almost impossible job, hasn't he? And
well,
even if he is inexperienced, it's a very difficult job to get Kit Huddersfield up, and you can't hold that against him, and you can't go in saying to next season, if we do go down, and say, well, this guy's taking us down.
He's only got half a chance if they buy 3 or 4 players now.
And to be fair,
that are good enough to chuck in and start, and away you go. And that's not going to happen.
Did you hear him? He ain't giving it up. I mean, obviously he's going to say that.
He's got to say that. But I like the fact that he were bullish about it, and
yeah,
they know. He's been given a 2.5-year contract, so they'd give him basically a 2-year championship contract.
Yeah.
The press conference was weird, wasn't it? It was a short 10-minute one.
Yeah, very short.
The questions were all David Wagner related. There was only really Oggy.
Some bad journalists in there, mate. Some of the voices.
Yes, there's only really Oggy from Radio Leeds who's asked anything decent.
Well, it were like they were referring to Wagner like they used to refer to Klopp when they were doing Wagner.
Tim Thornton had them first. Not Tim Thornton.
It was Tim Thornton.
Yeah, rubbish questions. Then he's got obviously Sky must have had the first pick of the questions, but and he was desperate to get that Martin from Wakefield in. I thought, mate, this is village stuff, man. Go to Guiseley if you want to do stuff like that. But deserved a little bit kind of better than that as well. But it's going to be fascinating to see. Kind of how it goes and that as well. But I think anyone rocking up, expecting total difference against Everton and that is going to be in for a bit of a surprise.
It's going to take a while, isn't it?
I'd just like to see a little bit of change for Everton game. I think that's why.
Just want to see a bit more zest, don't you? A bit more.
I mean, I said on Sunday on Twitter that I thought they'd announce it Monday, and then because players are getting a couple of days off, so they'll have been back in training today. So they've announced it Monday, give him a day and a half to get used to do all press stuff and all that, and then.
To be fair, he did say some things in the press conference which were really good. So, it like I say, it did sound like he'd been analysing us for 2 years, which is really good. So he's come in and he knows about the club, and he said, Huddersfield's a very special club and very familiar to him, which was great. One thing we got a tweet which we'll talk about in a minute, but one thing that David Wagner used to do, and it got a bit boring towards the end, was when he kind of used to refer to this small dog mentality, and it kind of got a bit. I think it backfired in the end a little bit. Did that? It did. And he's come in and he said Huddersfield Town are known across European football. And when David Wagner came in, he said, "No, I don't know where it is. I had to Wikipedia Huddersfield Town." But that's a credit to David Wagner and the job he's done as well. So there are little things where I've seen from him which you think, yes, he's up for this. Is this guy? And I just hope that he gets the right people around him to so we can see the best out of him, which is really, really good.
I think this season's just sort of difficult though, because David Wagner said, "Right, Steve, right, Lauren, just go off the cliff. You miss every chance you got." So you just never know in football. Do you just a different voice? But I just can't see where all of a sudden we're going to start scoring, loads of goals. It'd be incredible if this starts happening, and it'll almost look like a bit of a slur on Wagner.
If they do. But it's just one of them, innit? I think all good things come to an end, and for whatever reason, poor Summer, we've been over that a million times, but Wagner always said that he'd know for him when the time was right to go.
Yeah.
And obviously he'd said that he wanted to go at end of season. I'm really pleased, as much as I was gutted that he'd gone, I'm really pleased that the club took it upon themselves to bring that forward and say, let's do it now, let's make the change. Because at the end of the day...
And so did David Wagner as well.
Yeah, but my point is, if they've got this bloke lined up and had him lined up in effect for 18 months, 2 years, why wait till end of season? Get him in now. Let him get acclimatised. Let him, because he'll have all the other stuff to sort out, moving house or bring his family over, all that. Do that. Well, we're in a position where it's a pretty thankless task. Everyone's sort of resigned to going down. There's no particular bounce about the place at the moment. Let him come in, do that.
My first thought again, and this has been protect, get someone else in, keep the end of the season start again. But the trouble is, you've wasted all that prep time and stuff. And if he's doing the job at Dortmund or what have you, you've got to do it for. It took me a while
much
to
better than being here now.
Totally agree.
Better than being here now.
I've really kind of come out of that
because they've gained.
Yeah.
if Wagner went straight after the last match and then he's in a couple of weeks later, you've wasted 4 months.
Yeah.
And 4 months in football, in effect now, they've got a competitive pre-season of 15 games.
Yeah.
Whichever way you look at it, whether it's a miraculous escape,
Similar to
which is
when
unlikely.
David Wagner came in, isn't
exactly, yeah. So it's unlikely that it's a miraculous escape. But if it's building towards a positive start, get them up and running for Championship, brilliant. So I think that between them all, they've done the right thing for the football club, and at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. It's not about individuals.
And Kosi, you alluded to this, so the tweet I got was from Denny Ledger. We all got it from Denny.
I've read it.
Yeah, so it did. Kosi, you made the point. It is interesting, isn't it, to see that, if Exeter's manager was appointed due to his excellent work with the youth team as well, and you don't. It's strange, isn't it? How do you think maybe we're a bit victims of fashion maybe in this country, in that you wouldn't see a German side appointing a youth coach from Everton, would you, to Bundesliga manager?
Maybe, but you can't argue with what Wagner and Daniel Farks do at the moment.
No.
Yeah, and let's be honest, they've not had a lot of money to throw about. That's well. Yeah, obviously, Wagner, it has gone a bit stale, in recent times. But I think that people are just knowing they're going to get a coach who, because a lot of these dormant German, they've come through the ranks. Didn't our guys who coached German under-17s and 19s? So it's not as if it's just like coming to club management. They've got all these. I mean, no offense to Mark Hudson, but he's done our 23s for the season.
Not even a season.
No,
yeah.
that's just it. That's so. You've just got to look who's about. I mean, I know Nathan Jones has gone to Stoke, but he'd got the form in the book against Luton, hadn't he? And that's triggered him to that job and that as well. And then
he's one of those. If we hadn't taken the Stoke job, he's one of those that you'd think be half interested in him. To be honest,
apparently we were a couple of years ago.
Do you rip up?
Oh, we were monitoring him. Yeah.
I can totally get the club. Philosophy. Do you rip up what's successful and go and have a total change? It's such a gamble here because he's going to be armed with so much. Yeah. Kind of I agree with what they've done.
Even if he's not given a massive budget, we've now gone beyond whatever anybody says at club, within the club. We've now gone beyond. They can't ever throw out the line again. We can't compete in this league with monies that's been
definitely
spent.
not over the next 3 years.
So that's gone now. They can't ever do that now.
That's also what Denny says, is that sort of small club mentality. Do you think it's now time to move on from that?
They've got to.
Yeah,
they've got to.
I agree. We should.
We're going into Championship probably. I know we keep saying it like we're done and dusted, but realistically,
in all probability, yeah.
So we're into Championship next season. We're in there now as one of the clubs who we could never compete against before.
Yeah.
We're now one of those clubs that's been in Premier League, who's got parachute payments. So there's no excuse now.
You've only got to look at what's happening there now, though. West Brom, and I think they've kind of benefited. I mean, Danamore, I think, probably came in as a bit of a stopgap. Maybe if we'd have put it on, and it's worked a treat.
Yeah.
Obviously, a club legend, bought him some time.
Yeah, I'm pleased it's working out for him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Swansea are really struggling to kind of get up there, but obviously went with Graham Potter, totally different kind of way, foreign coach.
But that's the good point though as well, Kosi, that we've been making, and I think you made the point as well. Graham Potter's coming in the summer. He's not coming in January, has he? Where he's had a chance to assess everything. He's got to change that all over. So again,
they had that bit of a quandary, didn't they? Whether is Carvel staying, is he going? So that sort of held them up a little bit longer
again,
as well.
it shows what it's good planning from Huddersfield Town, and it really is good planning, because Swansea, I think, have proven what happens if you try and leave things to the last minute, haven't they?
I know we've got guys on the contract, but the key to me is going to be in that room where we saw with Martin Wakefield. Christopher Schindler, look me in the eye, mate. You know what the Championship's all about. You know what a tough slog it is in there. Are you up for getting us back in there?
They're the conversations you've got to be having now.
That for me, that is the big... Because
I
don't think it really matters how they really play now, because Schindler's having a poor season by his standards, in my opinion. I don't think it really matters even if he's formed up, get much better. To me, it's all about next season, and obviously he's done his research. It's going to be fascinating. I mean, some of these players who I thought would be great, and Mounier, is he a guy? Can we afford to keep him anyway? Would he get loads of goals? Is he up for that? There's so many things. It's such a big job. It's a real tough one.
If they're all up for it, if you start off with a team next year that contains Lossell, Smith, Schindler, Lerver, Johnny Ogg, Kachunga.
Hard workers,
It's a good start for the Championship side.
And if
then
they're
you
up
throw
for it,
to
as
it,
well,
if they're up for it, the good
I agree
players.
fully with what you're saying, Cosy. I think there do need to be some tough questions, and they need to ask people, do you want to play in this league? And if they do not want to play...
It's 100%
I think
right.
these next 16 games have any relevance. If guys are playing out the skin, it doesn't matter.
No.
Does that? It's all about next season. And Kachunga's an interesting one at the moment because I look at him and he's trying hard, and I'm thinking, mate, you're nowhere near, and he knows he's nowhere near Premier League quality. But you know, if he can get back to what he was massive in that promotion season, and his energy, enthusiasm. He's won.
I don't think it's any surprise that right hand side on Sunday started off Smith and Kachunga. I don't think I wasn't remotely surprised at that. No. And obviously he brought Lerver back in as well. He put in pretty much the back four that he knew he could trust on Sunday.
That's what I thought. It was about trust, and
you
know my thoughts on Haderjanai, but I was pleased to see Smith back in.
For all these new players that have come in and done whatever, Tommy Smith is still our best right back.
Megged him though, didn't he, for that goal? But he's different gravy, isn't he, mate? But you're not going to get that. But Luton, I know it's going to be cliche time. Luton away in a Tuesday night, driving rain. Boys, are you with me?
Yeah, I think we will.
Yeah. Oh, we are. I can't wait.
I want to go through that bloke's house to get away. I'm absolutely loving that. So speaking of next season, season ticket prices were released last week.
Yeah, brilliant.
Frozen, fantastic from the club to do so, especially without knowing what division we're going to be in. So £249 for us guys, £129 for under 18, so that's $249 for adults and seniors. Not that any of us are seniors. $129 for under 18s and
I've missed a lot this season, mate.
£49 for under 8s. So that works out. So I saw a tweet. So I've prepped some figures, Neil.
That's not
because
real.
I saw a tweet that said
It's a stat
it's
man.
skibby dibby dibby. So it's a great.
Is that my song at the end? Or?
No, you know yours.
Oh God.
So that works out at in the Premier League £13.10 a game for us, which is good. If we go down to the Championship, it's £10.82 per game. Under 18s get into Premier League football for £6.78 a game.
Somebody tweeted Sean Jarvis.
And somebody
really
said
melted my brain.
That it wasn't good value.
Somebody tweeted Sean Jarvis, and if you go down, well, they're going to be cheaper. Come on. Tell you what, son, you'll save your cent £249 and don't bother.
If you've got an under 8 next season, you can get him or her into the game for £2.57 in the Premier League per game or £2.13 in the Championship. And if anybody thinks that's not good value,
well, I ain't being funny.
I can't speak.
If for an home game, it's £10 odd for us in Championship.
It's great value.
Most folk have got that in a chuffing copper jar. Let's be honest. It's a £249, not easy for it to find in a lump, which they don't have to do. But if you break it down on value for money for what you're getting,
well,
it's an absolute steal. It's brilliant value.
One thing I will miss is the capped away prices. I hope Ipswich go down because I bet that's about like £58 or something now.
Well,
but
down the road from here is almost £40 as well, isn't it? But they might not be in the same league.
Yeah, obviously Jan says we're staying up, so forget all that chat, lads.
So it's capped away next season.
See, that was another tweet that were totally...
Is it?
Yeah. That would
We're staying up according to Kosi, so yeah.
I know we missed that segment, but Pete he ain't Sky Sports anymore. Looks like he's been binned off on
He's a whopper, isn't he?
Yeah.
Since he left Sky, he's useless.
He's lying. He's lying.
Useless.
That,
Yeah, did lie.
that was just blatant lies on his tweet, and he got taken to test by a few town fans and that as well. Yeah.
Didn't reply, did he?
Yeah.
No, as you'd expect.
No. I'm still waiting for Dale Jennings to sign.
Yeah. we didn't really are. I've never let him forget that. I'm surprised he hadn't blocked me. He don't matter with Sky Sports, Peter. You're just a whopper, son.
Whoppit.
Whoppit.
Whoppito. So like some crisps.
So from Frozen to Olaf. So Olaf Rebbe's left us. We've let him go.
Tenuous link there.
So we've let him go. So I just want to...
Laughing my head off, Matt.
Laughing your head off, yeah. So the only thing I really wanted to say on Olaf Rebbe was, I think, whereas everybody's quite pleased that he's gone, and there seems to be a bit of an unfair scapegoating on Olaf Rebbe, and some of the messages about him have been a little bit unfair. He came in the summer. All transfers are done by the recruitment team headed up by Josh Morris at Huddersfield, who has been there quite a while, and a lot of the transfers are teed up 1 or 2 windows in advance, so it's not necessarily his fault that some of these transfers have come in the summer. His lack of spoken English has probably made it difficult for him to be seen as much as maybe what he should do or what his predecessors have done. So he's not been able to go on to Q&A sessions on Radio Leeds, etc. and whatnot to do things and put his side across, because from what I understand his grasp of English isn't maybe as good as what maybe David Wagner's was. But it just feels a bit, there's a whole a team that goes on. There's a recruitment team, and part of his role as sporting director is to look after the number of different teams. The physio department, for example, hire the right academy coaches, and also look after transfers. It's one part of a number of plates that he's spinning at once. But I think, Neil, you're right in saying that he perhaps should have gone, and it gives Jan Siewert a really good clean slate and the club a clean slate, because if Jan Siewert comes in and Olaf Rebbe is still there's probably still an element who'll probably think that it's Olaf Rebbe's man, and maybe he doesn't get the sort of clean slate that we all think he would. But anyway, Olaf Rebbe's gone. Not many people will miss him, and we move on.
End of the day, it's one of those where, regardless of what he did, if it were all positive, his name has been tarnished, and a lot of people wanted him gone, regardless of what people knew, whatever. But if you look at social media, I'd say 90% of Town fans wanted him gone. So for this new start, for a new manager, and I think it's the right thing to do to
I agree.
Sort of clear the decks.
Yep.
Fresh start for the manager, fresh start for new bloke coming in, and there's nobody can be tarnished or anything. It's up to whoever's in there, Jan Siewert, whoever comes in, Joe Bloggs, whatever, whoever comes in and work that role. It's a fresh start with everybody, and I think that were probably vital, to be honest. I think that were really, really important that happened.
I didn't see because of what people were saying, I didn't see a way that he could stay.
It was almost untenable on his job.
It was, but it shouldn't have been because it's misinformation. But anyway, we'll go on. We'll move on to lighter.
Should we read a few tweets out?
Not yet. So we'll move on to lighter stuff, Neil. And it's a section people have asked whether it's coming back, and here it is.
Hey.
The things you say, your heart just give you away. The things you say, you're unbelievable.
Whopper of the week. Yeah, it's been a few weeks since we've done this, hasn't it? There's some absolutely standout contenders this week, so it was probably a good week to bring it back.
I think this is the biggest week ever that of contenders.
There has been some absolute top whoppering going on. Mark Saggers, whopper.
We've talked about
absolute whopper. Adrian Dunham spouted again. Absolute whopper. Go on, Kosi. Had a couple in.
Robbie Fowler, tell me a bit, because a few people might not know about this. This erupted on, and I were away on Monday night doing something else, come back, and then a storm had erupted.
It erupted and gone, hadn't it? Robbie Fowler had a tantrum and deleted it all, hadn't he?
What brought that on?
It basically picked holes in the fact that went about Wagner and didn't get all uproar why he'd gone, and he didn't see what kind of identity we had. There were no identity. We didn't score goals. We got promoted at a minus goal difference, which is a common one to beat us with. It just basically went off on one, and he got brought to task by a good number of Town fans, I think, and
didn't like it.
No, he didn't like it. Had a bit of a pot back, and then proceeded to delete everything, didn't he? And then I mentioned about that he wouldn't be happy if he knew that Town had played in 5 playoff finals, only scored in one of them and got promoted in 4. I mean, that would have really melted him, wouldn't it? the fact that we didn't score goals in playoff finals, it managed to get promoted every time.
I don't get where this has come from.
Well,
I mean, he can give his opinion on anything, to be fair.
He can. It's more than entitled to give his opinion, but it's the lack of any kind of background, any knowledge. It's just, let's just pick on Huddersfield because they're bottom at league, they don't score goals, and it goes back to the old, they'd rather have an Aston Villa or a Nottingham Forest and go back to old names and a bit of an old boys club job, innit?
Like the managers.
Yeah, it is. It is just that. So he got torn a new one, to be fair. He got torn a new one. And then obviously
Patrick Davison.
And then victim pool, they all fans joined in, then they're all back in King Robbie, and
so
somebody had a pop about him and his
it's a cult though, isn't it? That
somebody had a pop about him.
Somebody said that right.
Somebody joked about him with drugs thing when he was snorting the pretend line on pitch. And he lost his rag about that, which
tweet,
and to be fair, bloke who it was Graham who mentioned it, wasn't it? And I think Fowler sort of sees it as fair game if he does it to himself, but didn't like anybody else bringing it up. So, but don't do it in first place, and then it's open house, isn't it? You're out there to be shot at, and if you're going to pipe up chelping about a team, expect the fans to come back with something.
Saggers, Durham, Fowler, Patrick
Davison. Yeah, well, he's had
his 5 minutes of fame.
He's had an absolute mare there with Martin from Wakefield, hasn't he? But for me, it's got to be just for the stature that he was as a player.
He's a whopper as a player.
He was an absolute whopper, but he was bloody good. There's no doubt about that. He was a great striker. But to come out with all that and then not be able to handle it when fans get back at you and start deleting your tweets.
Getting it, wow.
Robbie Fowler is Whopper of the Week.
The things you say, your patrons just give you away. The things you say, you're unbelievable.
So transfers, we've been linked with a couple. There's a probable fake account, reckons Shinji Kagawa, which we'll take with a pinch of salt. But one that does look, and the Examiner as well, seemed to go in with a story that we're favourites to sign Odion Igalo, which is the kind of striker that you probably want. But it doesn't seem based on any sort of substance, so I'm not sure where they're going with that, as usual.
It won't be, will it? It's an Examiner, isn't it?
But there does seem to be substance even. Sorry, bro. Going all Robbie Fowler.
Subscience.
So there does seem to be a little bit in the striker from Charlton, Carlin Grant. So that's one to maybe keep an eye on over the course of the next 6 months.
To be fair, it's probably a bit late in day, isn't it?
Yeah, so
he's one of them, isn't he?
For Chelsea.
If a couple of £1 million, young lad, 14 in 28 this season. For next season, who knows? You got a trust club to go for. I don't mind him going for that kind of player, to be honest, as long as that's not the only striker that you're going to go and get.
Seen him once, quick, heavy first touch.
But scored 14 in 28.
We'll see.
You got to look at his stats.
Very quick.
And you like a stat. So
One every two. I can work that out.
Yeah.
He's got a similar sort of record to the lad at Sunderland who we were linked with, and he's going for
Bordeaux. It looks.
Yeah, I think it's silly money abroad. So maybe the club of
$3.5 million.
Hopefully picked the right one. Yeah, hopefully pick the right one.
Well, we'll see, won't we? I'm not. I don't really get too caught up in who we're going to sign or we're not going to sign, because
I
there's
text
you
you
can
guys
do about it, is there?
on the group last night. I text you guys, and if we sail out of January without adding to the squad, I said, would you be disappointed, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah, but my caveat to that was I don't want us to go throwing millions at it because I think it's pointless. But I do think that we've only brought Punchin in and we've sent out Van Lapada, Kwana, Sobby. So you got 3 out, 1 in, and I think just to
Julian Winter did say 3-3, didn't he?
Let's give. I mean, Schofield's gone out as well, keeper. So let's give Siewert a chance. Let at least give him a couple of loans in on loan, just to sort of another couple of pairs of legs in building. I think we need it. He needs it. We need it. So they're not better than rocking up next Tuesday night. New manager in dugout, a bit of spring about them, couple of new signings on pitch, And straight away, there's a bit of emphasis there. If crowd are interested again.
A signing always lifts the crowd.
Of course
doesn't
it does, yeah. But you chuck a couple in with new gaffer on touchline, new assistant manager rocks up as well, and
the Fonz.
All of a sudden, there's a bit of a different sort of air about place, isn't there? A bit more of a lift.
He was pushed a little bit when he see it in the presser, but he didn't really kind of give much away, did he? Kind of, I didn't really get the impression whether there was some coming in or not. So,
who knows? Yeah. But I think from what Dean Hoyle said about not sleepwalking at relegation, currently we're stumbling headfirst out door into relegation.
Yeah, and he'd be kind of up.
So fully awake.
I appreciate that things have changed with Wagner going and whatever, but the fact still remains we're only one game further down or 2 games further down from when that was said, and we drew one of them.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think you can hold the chairman.
I
wouldn't
hold Dean Hoyle to anything. Dean Hoyle's been pretty faultless in my opinion, but I do think, and I think club will be fully aware that they need to put a couple of bodies through the door for manager.
Absolutely.
Even if it's, like I say, a couple of loans, I'll take that.
So, Kosi, you're quite keen on getting some Twitter stuff read out?
Yeah, but if you want to obviously comment, guys, chip in and that as well. Jodie Calvert, we asked obviously about Siewert, what people's initials impressions.
She's got a crush on him already, as Jodie.
Yeah, there she goes.
As does Glennis.
I feel excited again for the first time since last Monday. Very relieved to hear he's been a long-term target, not just a quick reactive decision. He comes across as articulate, ambitious and intelligent, and a nice blue love that. Joseph McGregor, I know Jan is trying to peacefully distance himself from David, but they have so much in common, including their personalities. Basically, Jan is the Game of Thrones version of David Wagner.
Oh, let's not take it down the game, because we've been talking Game of Thrones so much, and
then Matt chipped in.
Well, I was quite happy that I was quite weirded out that 3 or 4 people said Game of Thrones was rubbish, and then they were pretty much drowned out by sensible people. Neil
Clive Wilkinson loved David Wagner and his possession football. Well, until we went into opponent's half. Looking forward to Jan's more attacking style of football. Marco, 2807, very confident, very articulate, but very much insistent he's not a David Wagner clone and he's his own man and wants to be known as that. I think survival is beyond us personally, but of course he has to be positive about it. I just want us to fight until the end. I think you touched on that, Neil, didn't you?
Yeah, that pretty nails it for me, that one.
As well. Alf Kennedy came across as confident in a good way and seemed fearless about the job ahead. Hope he can make us a team that aren't seen as an easy 3 points for the opposition again. Let's have a look for some more. John Smith, the king is dead, long live the king. Total trust in Dean Hoyle. Town simply have to take it one game at a time and see what happens. All the players will have to show their best to impress the new manager. We'll always love David Wagner. That as well. Ben Dembe, my hopes that talks to Dean about players he wants. JW said that the process for Julian Winter said the process for player recruitment was ongoing, but this seems weird to me. Siewert will have a formation in mind and will need players that fit his ideas.
I just chime in on that though with the recruitment stuff. They are all consulted. It's not just like, I don't think the scouting department just go out and scattergun and then he has to make do. I think he is consulted. And
you would hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Tom Finnegan came across really well in a press conference, instills a belief that the club need right now. Clearly doesn't want to be seen as a new Wagner. He's his own man, and I look forward to seeing him, seeing the impact he had. No pressure on him for the remainder of the season at all, which I agree with that. Honestly,
he hasn't got any pressure for me. None.
No. Go do you think?
The only pressure he's got that he'll bring on himself, and if we lose next 7.
Well, I think to be honest, I think kind of the opposite. I think if he wins the next few, I know we've got some tough games, but if he wins a couple of games, then all of a sudden people are going, hang on, they're not out of this yet, and that might be where the pressure comes in. But
we are though, aren't we?
Eddie All regular contributor.
Quitter.
As hard as it's to say, it's time to move on. Excited. Excuse me. Excited about what Jan can bring. Give it a good go this season. Plan ahead for next. Realistically, in the Championship, the club is in a better place now than it was 3 years ago. Plenty to look forward to. Up the town. Let's have a look for some more. Kind of a lot of Matt. TTC Matt. We'll just move on from this.
Leave it
I'm going to say, so with all that.
Weapon, that lad.
So with
Andy Moore. Sorry. He looks ready. Let's face it, Mark Hudson made us look more attacking against the world's best football team. I reckon a fresh pair of eyes on a team with Moy and a couple of new faces, it might just work. Let's hope.
How big would that be when Moy comes back?
Aaron Moy were on pitch and they had a training session straight after the game. Aaron Moy were
I think we're just waiting for Australia to play their last game and then throw him in.
Yeah. Northwest Terriers. We're everywhere, aren't we, those Terriers? Northwest Terriers. Impressed with Jan, but even more impressed with the conviction of the club in the process of appointing him. keeping tabs for 2 years and didn't interview anyone else. That speaks volumes. Wagner gave us an identity, but I think Siewert will define it. Bring on the Toffees. I think a lot of people are impressed that we had. It's not just a pluck from
absolutely
anywhere and that as well. Kevin Tebb, Jan the man sounded confident and positive. Winter said 3 gone out, 3 to come in, which you just said, Matt. I must admit I didn't kind of pick that up. So 1 here already, so maybe some more to come. Hopefully can get us winning football matches again, then see what May brings us. If we beat Everton, the crowd should sing, I did it my way.
Oh dear. Hopefully not your version.
Hopefully not as bad as me last week. Ian Kilroy, I hope he can find some results this season, regardless of relegation. It will be a huge turnover in the summer if we go down. Then a post-start with a new squad and an experienced manager would make the atmosphere awful. The next 15 games are crucial to Town and Jan Siewert.
I'm not even sure it'd be a massive turnover, mate, to be honest yet.
Well, Julian, I think, after he said that, to be fair, Julian Winter's come out and said that if we do go down, then doesn't need to be a fire sale. So that was quite good. He's on fire at the minute, Julian Winter.
I think the ones that are guaranteed, Adam Moy's not going to be here next season, as much as it pains me to say that.
No.
Because he is the single best player I've seen in Huddersfield Town.
He's a Premier League quality player.
Absolutely.
He deserves to be.
And I wasn't surprised at all to see him in an Everton or West Ham. He's good. He's more than good enough.
He's class.
Philip Lawton, on the football side, I like what I hear. I think he's right to distance himself from being David Wagner too, but I would like to see him retain the connection that David had, especially with the crowd, but also with the town and the area. I'd like to hear his thoughts on that. Will he make good toast? That as well. It'd be interesting, won't it, whether that's... Because I kind of think the Dortmund spirit and the Huddersfield spirit and that as well. It'd be interesting to see how
I think the two ethoses marry up really well because it's based on a working class culture and hard work. So I think it's the right sort of ethos for both clubs, and I think we just bounced off that. So is that all the ones you've got there, Kosi?
I've got one from Freddie Cocker. Enjoyed it a lot. Calm, measured and determined and confident. Kept his cards close to his chest regarding playing style, which is understandable given the squad's limitations. Really hope his clout can get more signings in. A win against Everton and we could dare a hope, says Freddie.
Freddie's dreaming. Freddie's dreaming.
Yeah, there's Martin Shaw, nothing against him, but I'm still getting used to Wagner leaving. This is a new feeling not to not be relieved when the manager has gone. During my time as a fan, it's been Horton onward, so I miss Warnock, who may have had that impact also.
Horton.
Even Jacko was ready for his departure. I must admit, it's a good point that the Warnock one was I kind of not the kind of the Wagner, but I was devastated when Warnock left, and
I was, but it was the sort of caveat to that where we just got promoted, hadn't we?
So so it took the shine, it took the sting away, didn't it?
Well, I remember first game at season year after we were away at Oldham.
Oh, we got
and we lost 3-0. And Town fans were all laying because we were passing ball on pitch more than 4 or 5 passes.
Lee Richardson ripped us to bits, didn't he? And then played for us later, yeah.
It's a nice tweet from Michael Cases on another one here. Young, hungry to succeed. What's not to like? His CV may not be stellar, but neither was Wagner's, to be honest. If Dortmund saw a good coach in him, then that's enough for me. Look at the youth players that have broken through into their teams. It's a testament to the youth coaches they have. Obviously, Jadon Sanchez was kind of shouted out, kind of being, key in that as well. I think that's it, Matt.
Okay, so from Julian Winter to Winter is Coming, we had a bit of a Game of Thrones off, didn't we, earlier, Neil? So, and with all that in mind, you threw out a tweet from your ignorance of good TV and said, so with all discussions of midgets and other things, who is or was your favourite vertically challenged terrier?
And these aren't my favourite 4, these were 4 short-ass players I thought of.
Lee Fowler was the first one I came up, but if I'd have thought of David Beresford, I'd definitely have used that one for the joke. But everybody's favourite short terrier is Alex Pritchard with 46%. And Junior Bent I thought was a good one. I can't quite remember. I'm a little bit young for that, but I've seen him on video.
Junior Bent, what, yeah.
I do. He used to frustrate. And you know what, Neil? When I looked at your list, there was some of them players that I never booed, but they got me. Gary Barnett. Oh my words!
Would you class Tom? Is Tom Cowan too tall for a dwarf?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was 5'7", wasn't he?
Yeah.
But where's the cut off? 5'6". Lee Fowler's 5'8".
When I hear the words Tom Cowan, I can only feel
class.
Me.
No else but love for Tom Cowan.
I think my least favourite short player for Huddersfield Town is probably Mark Ward.
To be fair, one that I didn't put on the list that Ollie Fisher added on and would have won it by a mile were Leon Knight.
He did. Ollie added Leon Knight.
Matt Ward, though, yeah. Oh, man.
Matt Ward, yeah.
What were he about? Yeah.
Barry Preston says Gary Barnett. I remember Gary Barnett. He was quite short, but I can't remember if he was a dwarf or not.
Greenhalls, he played in that Greenhalls kit with that.
And he had massive ears.
He never met a man, he was horrendous, mate.
Yeah.
Fulham, he came from and all, but aren't they doing well, Fulham, eh?
No. Jared Mulligan's thrown in Chris Brandon. I didn't think Chris Brandon was that
small, was it?
No, I don't know.
I didn't like him either.
Young Bradley
Step
Walsh.
over King.
Oh, I had a...
Ben Ellam's thrown in Phil Senior, which is not good for a goalkeeper. Junior Ben. Tom Count, someone else.
I was trying to think of a short RC11, but I couldn't think of two centre-backs who were short enough.
What, Danny Adams thrown in?
Danny Adams got thrown in.
Dudley Lewis won over 4, wasn't he?
Someone's put Corin Russell, but I think he means
Colin
Colin Russell. Not his wife, Corin.
See, if you're going back a bit...
Danny Adams, 5 foot now.
Ian Robbins wasn't right big, was he?
No, he's got a lot of headers as well.
Yeah, Ian Robbins wasn't right big. Ian Bray, he was rubbish.
To be fair, Naki wasn't massive.
No, Naki wasn't big, but he was.
Just
I wouldn't have him down
above the cut-off.
As dwarf status, though.
No, he is when you compare
David Beresford were Virgin on, wasn't he?
He cost a bit of money at that time, eh?
350 grand from Oldham.
Ouch.
He ripped us to bits, didn't he, on Sky? But yeah, so thanks for everybody that gets in touch via Twitter. So thank you. So that's one thing we like to try and do is give people a platform to discuss things as well via the podcast. So thanks for getting in touch. And if you ever want to get in touch, just either send us a private message or get involved with the topics, or even if you want to set the agenda, just let us know. And we're always happy to chat about things that people want to chat about. It's not about...
We don't chat about... Sorry, Matt. We don't chat about bottom of Premier League and stuff now, do we? We've kind of...
That bottom 7, it's bottom 1 now, isn't it?
Do you think that... I want to bring it up, though. Do you think...
It's wrong, can it?
Yeah.
Newcastle battered Cardiff. No surprise to me. Cardiff were dreadful against us and what have you. Do you think that's how it's going to stay? I firmly believe that's that. For the
I think Fulham are with us.
Yeah,
but I still think that last place, Cardiff have still got the Warnock factor for me.
They're still scrapping out the Cardiff. Whereas Fulham, you look at...
I'm shocked at Fulham.
Fulham, there's like people fighting over yoga sessions there.
They got didn't he get arrested?
Yeah, it's
Did
just...
the club bring him to be arrested?
There's too much going on there at Fulham where there's too much fallout.
They haven't had a real positive outcome of getting rid of
the manager. No, Jokanovic.
So
I think, like us in many ways, they're over-recruitment scuppered.
And I think they'll be recruiting again in summer because they will have a big turnover because their wage bill will be huge.
They've got a worse goal difference than us. It's unbelievable.
And I can't see Ranieri being there in Championship either, I'll be honest.
No, his magic's not worked this time.
So, diddly ding, diddly off you go, son.
We've only scored 5 goals at home all season. I know we were on about selling season tickets. The price sells.
Scored like 2 second-half goals all season, haven't we, or something?
5 goals, Neil. What is that about?
Just dreadful.
I think Palace have only scored 6, to be fair. But sorry, Matt, I'm nicking your stats.
No, crack on. Crack on.
Any views on the top, mate? Who's going to win the league?
I kind of want Man City to win.
Man City.
I don't think I could cope. I don't think I could cope with Liverpool winning the league.
No, mate.
I like Jurgen Klopp a lot, but the rest of it can.
Yeah, I hope his Jurgen flop.
He looked a big moment on Saturday, didn't he? I couldn't believe it. Half time they were 1 down, and
yeah. There's a lot to like, isn't there, about some of it at Liverpool, but just the cult mentality of it is just hard work.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Neither me. But if that's it, guys, I think the only thing left to do.
I've been armed with the ridiculous. Let's be honest here, Matt. These lyrics have been sent to me by someone, and it goes on forever. But it could be I need karaoke, when the telly comes up and it ball bounces on the words and that as well. Because I could be totally wrong with my tune here.
I was hoping your voice would carry this whole thing through, you see. But where it's come from.
It's just I can know the chorus, but get into it. Anyway, let's cut it. Let's go. I cried myself to sleep, a song in my darkest hour, tears I can't keep inside of my eyes. I swing from high to deep, extremes of boop and sour, Hope that God exists, I hope, I pray. Drawn by the undertow, my life is out of control. I believe this wave will bear my weight, so let it flow. Jan Siewert came from Germany. Siewert, our Rhineland King. I'm not sure how that goes, but yeah. The end. Danke.